You're standing in the middle of your garage, a blank piece of plywood on the bench and a dream of a custom sign in your head, but the thought of spending a few $100 on a CNC router that you'll later regret keeps you scrolling. I get it, you don't want to throw money at something that won't actually cut the size you need, that will wobble on the bigger sheets, or that will sit gathering dust because it's too complicated to set up. That hesitation is exactly why I'm breaking down the Genmitsu PROVerXL 4030 with the 39" by 40" XY-axis extension kit and the 1010 aluminum and MDF hybrid Spoilboard, so you can decide if this is the right upgrade for your shop or if you should keep looking. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's put this machine in context. The base PROVerXL 4030 is a popular entry-level CNC router that many hobbyists start with because it's compact enough for a garage and affordable enough to not feel like a huge risk. What the extension kit does is essentially give you a bigger playground, pushing the travel from the stock 400mm square up to a full 1000mm by 1020mm work envelope. That's the difference between cutting a single coaster and carving a full-size tabletop or a batch of aluminum brackets in one go. The kit also adds a stronger motor, a drag chain that keeps all the cables tidy, and a hybrid spoilboard that can handle both wood and thin-sheet aluminum without swapping out the tabletop each time. If you already own a PROVerXL 4030 and you've hit the ceiling of its work area, the upgrade feels like a natural next step. I've seen makers who started with the stock size comfortably produce decorative pieces, then realized they needed a larger surface for a furniture prototype, and the extension kit saved them from buying an entirely new machine. The fact that the extension bolts onto the existing frame means you don't have to relearn the whole software stack. The same GRBL-compatible control software you were using stays exactly where it belongs. That continuity is a real time saver for anyone who's already spent a few weekends getting the base unit dialed in. On the other hand, if you're brand new to CNC routing, you might want to pause before adding the extension. The original 4030 is already a learning curve, setting the origin, calibrating the step sperm, and tuning the spindle speed. Adding a larger X-axis introduces a bit more complexity in terms of rigidity and alignment. The longer rails can be a little more forgiving of any slight twist in the frame, which means you'll need to double-check that everything is square after you mount the kit. For a complete beginner, it might be simpler to stick with the stock size until you feel comfortable, then decide if you really need the extra real estate. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that actually matter when you fire up the machine for a project. The easy-to-set-up claim isn't just marketing jargon. The kit comes with pre-drilled mounting plates and clear instructions that walk you through extending each axis step by step. In practice, you spend about an hour tightening bolts and threading the new lead screws, then you run a quick test cut on a scrap piece of MDF to confirm the axes move smoothly. The included drag chain does more than hide cables. It protects the wiring from accidental snags when you're moving large sheets around, which is something I've seen cause headaches on other routers. More power is another headline feature, and it translates into a noticeable difference when you switch from soft woods to something tougher like pine or a 0.8mm aluminum sheet. The upgraded motor provides a bit more torque, so you won't have to constantly slow down the feed rate to avoid stalling on denser material. In a real-world scenario, I used the upgraded setup to cut a set of interlocking wooden puzzle pieces and then switched to a thin aluminum faceplate for a custom keychain prototype without swapping the spindle or changing the board. The hybrid Spoilboard handled both tasks seamlessly, saving me the hassle of buying a separate aluminum-specific board. Every upgrade has its trade-offs, and this one is no exception. The larger travel means the gantry has a longer span to support, which can introduce a modest amount of flex when you're pushing the spindle through thicker stock. If you plan to machine 1-inch hardwood or heavier aluminum, you'll notice a slight vibration at higher speeds. The solution isn't to abandon the machine, but to adjust your cutting strategy, slow down the feed, increase the number of shallow passes, and consider adding a simple brace underneath the work surface for extra rigidity. Those are small compromises compared with the cost of buying a whole new, industrial-grade CNC, but they're worth keeping in mind if you need ultra-precise, high-speed cuts. Another practical consideration is the size of the Spoilboard. The 1010 hybrid board measures roughly the same dimensions as the extended travel, but its thickness is limited to 10 millimeters. That works great for